In it here now, I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna been on here now, who bid $500,000 bid.
Welcome to the Legacy of Agriculture. This program will explore the past, present, and future of agriculture. We'll look at the people, products, and events that have formed its history. And now with today's guest, your host, Chris Bair.
Good morning, everybody. This is Chris Bair, your host of the Legacy of Agriculture. Thank you for joining us on your busy day. We are broadcasting from the Pifer's Sioux Falls facility, just south of Sioux Falls on I-29. I'm up in the auctioneer's booth. And today's guests are Cara Zastrow, who is the head of our marketing for Pifer Auction and Realty based out of Moorhead, Minnesota. How are you doing this morning, Cara?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for finally having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. You guys do an absolutely phenomenal job. And my second guest is our own Josh Erickson, right here out of the Sioux Falls facility. Josh, is kind of the jack of all trades, master of none. He takes care of some of our digital marketing. He takes care of helping in the yard, loading machinery. Sometimes you'll find Josh driving a pickup down the road and gathering information. He's kind of what I refer to as our cleanup guy. He just does everything for everybody. And Josh, how long have you been with us now? Has it been 3-4 years?
Oh, I would say probably closer to 4, maybe even 5, makes me feel old, but yeah. And been doing a couple of these shows as well. So,
All right. And just so everybody knows, Josh takes care of all of the cutting and editing that we do on the Legacy of Agriculture from the very beginning. He does an absolutely fantastic job. Today, I want to focus on, and I want to just kind of relax and have a nice, easy show. And I want to talk about the people who make such a tremendous difference in the auction industry and to Pifers. Everybody, the public, mostly gets to see the auctioneers. They get to see the ringmen. They get to see the clerks. They get to see the cashiers, and the salesmen that are going out and knocking on doors. But there's so many people in an organization like our marketing team that supports what's going on the front lines, that put in just as many hours, that does just as much thinking and analyzing and preparing for these auctions. And that's our marketing people. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for our marketing people, Cara, especially for you and Bailey and the people that support you. You do an absolutely phenomenal job. So I want the public to know what goes on behind the scenes. You are the ones that make us look good.
Yeah, it's hard to make you look good there, Chris.
Now, be careful what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love my job. I have a great team behind me. I'd like to say we have 3.5 people because Josh, like you said, does everything, and he does a great job running your guys' social media page and takes a lot off our plates here in the corporate office. But we just kind of cover all our bases where we do traditional advertising and marketing, which is your radio, your print ads, your direct mailers. But then we're now kind of seeing the more untraditional side of things like social media, digital marketing, and then even podcasts like this are really unique ways that we're kind of hitting all our markets and bases. And we just have a great team where we have a full-time social media individual. We have someone like Josh that does the videos. We have someone hands stuff every mailer we do. It's a lot of work, but we absolutely love it. And we love working with the Sioux Falls team because you guys are very innovative. You guys are willing to try new means of advertising, and you just put your trust in us, which we really appreciate.
Thank you very much, Cara. So walk us through a typical day for the marketing team. What do you guys, when you come in, you got 19,000 emails of demanding salesmen throughout the Pifer's organization saying, I want to sign a contract. I got to have 19 things done right this second. So Tell me about your day.
Yeah, our day starts with, like you said, checking our emails, seeing what came through overnight. And sometimes it's crunch time with a lot of these sales that we book. They are less than 45 days out. We typically like to advertise at least 45 days for land, about a month or so for equipment, just so we're getting the word out and hitting all of our unique types of advertising. So we start with the contract and we make sure it gets put on pifers.com, because that's a huge platform that we have our audience go towards to look at our sales and updates, because we do offer our online bidding for every land auction that's on site and live. And like you said too, with equipment, you guys offer it live and online. So we make sure we cover all of those on websites. With equipment auctions, we heavily focus on website advertising. There's so many third parties out there that are specific to the different types of equipment, like construction, ag, and so forth. So we do our research too, especially if there's unique types of advertising. Like if we get a really unique piece of equipment that Josh might do a unique video for that, or we specifically just do a boost Facebook post for that specific item solely because we have the rights and the capabilities of boosting our posts and targeting specific individuals and interests. So yeah, we also do marketing material. So every land auction gets a print ad. They get a postcard, which is sent out to individuals that are surrounding where the property is located. We do our social media. We do a catalog. The catalog's kind of our bread and butter, and it's the perfect way for our audience to kind of see a roadmap of what the property offers. And equipment auctions all get print ads. They get a poster of the sale bill. That's a huge benefit to each sale, because even though our sales are constantly getting updated and changing because our consignment sales have items coming in daily, we put a QR code on every single poster, which is such a benefit, because then people that are maybe going to the gas station and see it hanging up, it could be a couple days out, and they just take a scan of the QR code and it brings them right to our page.
Cara, for those the older generation that don't know what a QR code is, tell us what a QR code and what it does, so that our listeners can understand and know what the QR code is.
Yep, QR codes, they've been around for a while, but they made a comeback when the pandemic happened. A lot of restaurants utilized them for their menus because they didn't want to have the germs of individuals touching the menus and whatnot. So we utilize the QR codes for every single sale. So every sale of ours gets a QR code specific, and it's that white and black kind of speckly square that if you just hover your phone over it with your camera, it will then pop up with a little link of that you could click, and it will redirect you to that site. So it's just a little white and black box that kind of looks pixelated, but there's a reason for it, because all those little black dots are generated specific, so they know exactly what site they need to bring that individual to.
What's really neat about that in layman's terms is a guy like me who's a telephone calling. I come from the generation of pick up the phone and call.
Yep.
Is that when I go out to a Pifer's auction and I'm sitting in my pickup and I take a picture of our road sign, it's got that QR code, and I can just zoom in from the seat of my pickup, and rather than calling and saying, "Hey, how do I find the information?" that QR code will take you directly to the auction, where you can get all of the information, which includes drone footage, still pictures, easy 156 maps, everything that you need for that auction, right?
Exactly. Yep. It's really nice too, because we can less is more when you come to advertising, especially print and then road signs, just because you don't want to have the whole kitchen sink on your sign. You want to get the eye-catching details of what it is, the date, and acres, or when your next equipment sale is. And that QR code will allow those individuals to go straight there and get all their information without throwing it all on a sign or an ad.
Wonderful. Hey, folks, we're coming down to the end of our first segment of the Legacy of Agriculture. Cara Zastrow and Josh Erickson are my guests here today, talking about marketing and how the marketing team helps the sales team put the auctions together and execute on successful auctions, which that's what Pifer's is known for, is successful auctions. Folks, we're going to be back after a brief break with the Legacy of Agriculture.
Hey, this is Jasmine at Pifer's Auction, Realty, and Land Management. Pifer's offers multiple ways to bid and buy at our equipment and land auctions. You can bid online, in person, or place pre-bids before the sale even starts. By providing convenient bidding platforms, we make sure that you can buy the items or parcels you want the way you want to. Visit pifers.com to see a complete list of our auctions. When it comes to bidding, go with Pifer's. Nobody does it better.
Good morning, everybody. This is your host of the Legacy of Agriculture. I'm Chris Bair, and my guest today is Cara Zastrow and Josh Erickson, who are part of our marketing team here at Pifer's Auction Realty. Cara, Pifer's has some exciting news, and we're celebrating our 25th anniversary of being Pifer's and selling land and machinery all over the upper Midwest. And also quite exciting is Sioux Falls is now celebrating their 5th year of being in business down here in the southeast corner of South Dakota. We're a stone's throw away from Minnesota, Iowa, and about 50 miles north of Nebraska, right on I-29. And I will tell you that the majority of our success here at Pifer's at the Southern Dakota facility has been a result of our marketing team and the phenomenal job that they have done. Cara, you guys have done a great job. And we were having a really brisk conversation in our first segment about marketing. And there's one part there that I want to talk about before the contract ever gets signed. And that's when the sales guys go out, or I go out, or anybody goes out, and we're sitting across the kitchen table from or across the table from a board of directors or for the owner of a company, is that the preparation for that meeting, which involves a really beautiful proposal, is something that you guys have mastered. I know that I have been sitting in my pickup saying, I need a proposal turned around in 2 hours, and I get a proposal electronically in my mail. Tell us a little bit about kind of the pre-contract process for the marketing team and how important that is.
Yeah, it's extremely important. I can't take the credit because Bailey and Michaela are two other marketing gals. They can pound those out in 30 minutes. I've seen you in 10 minutes sometimes. It just comes along with working well with the agent, giving us as much information as possible. And then we essentially get all that information in words and put it into our programming and turning it into something very clean and concise and just a perfect presentation to give to our potential clients. So we utilize these templates that help us turn these around really quick. And I think we've gotten a lot of these sales over our competitors because of how quick we present these to our clients. And I got a hats off to our two girls up in one in Grand Forks and one here in the corporate office with me. They do a really great job with getting those done for you guys.
I'm going to give you a kudos, and you don't know this yet, but I was going to tell you, you guys, I met with some potential sellers earlier this week. Today is Wednesday, so on Monday, or actually it was last Friday, I had met with them, and I called up to the marketing team, and I says, I need a proposal. There is a board meeting that's going to be going on. I need a proposal as quickly as possible. I had a proposal in my email in 30 minutes, and it went to this particular board. We gave the proposals to the board, and they looked at it. And after the board meeting, the decision maker called me and says, I never had a chance to look at your proposal before we met. We literally opened those proposals because it was such a fast turnaround. Those proposals are absolutely fabulous. And today we're signing a real estate contract.
That's great. Well, yeah. I think you guys need to take credit for yourselves too. I mean, you guys are on the road, you're meeting with these individuals, you're grinding. You guys have a great team. In 5 years, you guys have been around. I mean, you guys have just added so much success to our company. So I think you need to, you're giving all the praise. I think you need to get some too. So I wanted to give you guys both that. I mean, you guys, Kyle, you got Jazz down there, and then Neil with land management. I mean, you guys are a rock star team. You're a well-oiled machine, and we work really well together. But then I think you guys have really put us on the roadmap down there in the Sioux Falls region.
I want to talk a little bit about an experience that I had with the Pifer's marketing team a few years back. And I have done auctions now in 18 different states, and I have traveled in all the years that I've been in the auction industry. It seems like I've been in almost every place west of the Mississippi. But a few years ago, we had a very, very good client of ours that called and said, we have a warehouse that we have bought that we need to vacate. And inside of this warehouse, for I think it was probably 40 years or so, they manufactured all kinds of quilts, all kinds of decorative pillows. You remember this?
I remember
Cara?
that sale. That was fun to market, though. It was very unique.
And
Never had anything like that.
And I called up the marketing team and I says, I want you to know that I've got us in a pickle, but we have to help this client out. We're going to do it as a favor. We're probably not going to make any money, which is not the idea in the auction industry. And I said, we have got, it was over 1,000 lots that we had inside of this warehouse, from everything from 3-phase commercial sewing machines to quilting tables to older, oh geez, I can't even remember everything we had. We had stuff in there that
sale.
Josh lived there.
Yeah, actually, Josh is the one that put that sale together. And and when I was walking through this warehouse looking at it, I thought, first of all, my setup guys are going to kill me. And then if I survive,
we only got close.
If I survive that, when the marketing team gets a hold of me, they'll just finish off whatever's left. And so I called
the nail in the coffin.
That's right. I called the marketing team and I says, I just booked an auction in Webster, South Dakota, which is in the middle of nowhere. We've got 150 commercial sewing machines that we have to sell, and about 900 to 1,100 lots of everything from fabric to fabric stretchers to racking. And I remember on the other end of the line, when I stopped talking, marketing never responded. The phone was silent, and I could hear verbally in my mind, Chris, we are going to kill you. But
at the same time, it was a fun one to market. We're so used to just doing land and equipment. So when we get these unique sales, we get to be creative.
Yeah.
But we were a little frustrated at first, but then we're like, okay, maybe this will be fun.
Yeah. Well, the purpose of the story is that when I called the marketing team, I says, I don't know how we're going to do this. I need your help. And if I remember right, we didn't even do a proposal. We just signed the contract. We were probably the only auction company in the world that would take the auction, but we took it on because we believe in serving our clients and we believe in serving our customers, and we felt that there were buyers out there for it. And I want to carry this all the way through. We had that auction that exceeded our customers' expectations substantially. And the reason for the success is when I went to the marketing team and I said, this is what we've got. I know that this has to be done a particular way. I don't know how to do it. And you guys spent quite a few days just helping me and putting together a marketing plan. And I can remember looking at the marketing plan, Cara, and going, okay, I have to 100% trust the information that the marketing team is getting. And that auction was very, very successful as a result of what you guys did.
Yeah, I think we heavily focused on social media and digital, because with those two platforms of advertising, you can get specific. So we were targeting people for the whole nation, essentially, that were interested in quilting and industrial like sewing machines. So it was a fun one to market. But yeah, it was definitely something we were not used to doing as a company. So, and I also think it got us kind of down there in that area. I mean, that was a huge sale, and yeah, granted, it wasn't a huge moneymaker, but I think people saw how we conduct our sales and how concise and precise too. Like Josh getting down there and pretty much living there every week and lotting everything specifically. Like it really helped you guys, as I think, word of mouth, especially. I mean, I think after that we were seeing sales come through a lot, so it was a test to you guys for sure.
Well, folks, we're coming down to the end of our second segment of the Legacy of Agriculture. And speaking of auctions, if you want a list of all of our 2025 auctions and the auction results of the auctions that's already taken place in 2025, you'll want to visit our website at pifers.com, or you can give us a call right here in Sioux Falls at 605-836-2277. Pifers, nobody does it better.
Hi, this is Jasmine at Pifer's Auction, Realty, and Land Management. Pifer's offers multiple ways to bid and buy at our equipment and land auctions. You can bid online, in person, or place pre-bids before the sale even starts. By providing convenient bidding platforms, we make sure that you can buy the items or parcels you want the way you want to. Visit pifers.com to see a complete list of our auctions. When it comes to bidding, go with Pifer's. Nobody does it better.
Folks, this is Chris Bair, your host of the Legacy of Agriculture. We're coming into our third segment of the Legacy of Agriculture. Had a really great, brisk conversation so far talking about marketing, and Cara leads a tremendous marketing team from our corporate office out of Moorhead, Minnesota. But another area of the auction business that doesn't get a lot of recognition in the public's eye is the guys that are putting the auctions together. Once the contract is signed, once it all goes to marketing, it's the guys behind the scenes that are going in, that are detailing equipment, preparing equipment, getting the auction or getting the machinery prepared for the auction, and then loading out after the sale, that plays a very integral part of the auction industry. Josh, tell us a little bit what that looks like.
It's different for every auction, and I think that's one of the joys of working in this world is that there's so much to learn. And when I first joined the company, for those listeners who don't know me, um, I had almost zero experience in the auction industry and in the machinery world. My family, my extended family were farmers, but myself, I just didn't really know much. And so one of the joys of coming into it is that over the course of the years, you get to learn about each individual piece of machinery, what the different features that machines have, what people are looking for when they're going to purchase machines. If it's a collector tractor, a lot of times folks are looking at the tin work. They're looking at how straight a tractor looks. They're looking at running condition. They're looking at maybe they want a tractor to work on with their kid and to put together. And that's very different than a tractor that someone's buying who they want it immediately to go out into the field. And so you start to learn what different aspects of machinery is worth paying attention to. And you do that a lot through picture and video presentation. Down here, we've got a yard manager named Lucas, and he does an absolutely stellar job. And we work together, he and I, to help photo our equipment that comes into the yard. And it's a matter of making sure that people, as much as possible, people can view the items online as if they were there in person. Now, in the auction world, it's always the buyer's responsibility to inspect the item. So we encourage people to come into our yard to kick the tires, to take a walk around it. But for those folks, I mean, we've sent machinery up to Canada. We've sent combines down to Mexico. We've sent sewing machines out to Pennsylvania. I mean, for those folks who absolutely cannot make it, they want the opportunity to bid online. Having that expertise of, okay, when I look at a planter, I need to see pictures between the rows and how those closing wheels look. That makes a ton of difference in value for our clients that we're selling for. And it makes a ton of difference for our buyers because if you're buying, you want to be able to buy with confidence and you want the type of people who are going to be honest and upfront with you. And really, all of this, the goal of photos, of the videos that we put together for social media, all of it is to take our product, which for us is ag equipment or land, and connect it with the type of people who are looking for it. So all of this work that we put in before a sale, all of the customer service we put in after a sale, communicating with people, the end goal is to make sure that if you're looking for something, we can help you find it.
And you and Lucas do a fabulous job. And I know out in western North Dakota, where in our at our Bowman facility and the Steel North Dakota facility too, those setup guys work rain or sunshine. Sometimes it is so bitter cold outside, and they're putting pallets together, and they're getting guys unloaded or loaded, and it's a lot of hard work to be able to do that. And there's a lot of moving parts that people don't understand when it comes to especially with the live auction, where you're bringing machinery into a yard. Basically what you're doing, Josh, you and Lucas are doing, is you're taking care of that piece of equipment from the time it's unloaded until the time that it's completely reloaded. And that piece of equipment is there's many eyes that are set on it, not only the eyes of the buyers, but when it comes here, that it has to be tagged, the description has to be done. And generally, as a rule of thumb, there's 20 to 30 pictures that are taken, then it's set into line, and then it's reset into line. And then once the auction takes place and the buyer buys it, if there's duals, if there's something that needs to be disassembled on it to get it ready for transportation. I know that we had sold a cultivator that went all the way to Canada. Well, those have to be completely disassembled and prepared for transportation. And on the online only farm auctions, they don't get that service that they get if they bring a piece of equipment here to our yard, right, Josh?
I would agree. And, one of the things that Piper's does that I'm not sure how common it is in the auction industry because I've only ever worked for Piper's. We tend to set up our sales so that like kind sell together, right? Our goal is to make our sales as seamless as possible, as easy to understand as possible. So if you're looking for a tractor, you're looking at the same 8 lots. You don't have a tractor selling and then an old field crop cultivator and then a brand new planter and then a wheel loader. We try and organize things together, and then in that process, it's for the sake of our buyers who are in person and our buyers who are online. As people are loading out, it's way easier to find things. We try and set the lot in lot order or as close as we can so that as people are driving through, we want to try and remove any type of confusion that we can for our buyers because we want, when you're looking at a piece of machinery, we want you to be thinking, is this the type of machine you want to buy? We don't want you to be confused as to how to buy it. And so we try and present as many possible opportunities for you to buy that item.
Yeah, and that's right. And that's we try to take all of the guesswork out of the bidding process for the buyers, helping them make that decision quicker and faster and easier, and try to help them also establish value on a piece of equipment as well.
Yeah, and just minimizing the amount of questions through things like a description as detailed as we're able to make it. And if we have as many photos as possible, those kind of things, they're little details with every piece, but if you can try and get the little details right, you'd be amazed at how a sale comes together.
Yep, you're exactly right. Hey, folks, we're coming down to the end of our third segment. We've had a great segment. Our first and second segment, it was really good as well. For a complete listing of all of the auctions that we're talking about, you'll want to go to our website at pifers.com or give us a call here at the Sioux Falls office, 605 836 2277. Pifers, nobody does it better.
Hi, this is Jasmine at Pifer's Auction, Realty, and Land Management. Pifer's offers multiple ways to bid and buy at our equipment and land auctions. You can bid online, in person, or place pre-bids before the sale even starts. By providing convenient bidding platforms, we make sure that you can buy the items or parcels you want the way you want to. Visit pifers.com to see a complete list of our auctions. When it comes to bidding, go with Pifer's. Nobody does it better.
Folks, this is Chris Bair, your host of the Legacy of Agriculture. We're in our fourth and final segment. So, Cara, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. You're a city girl. You're a city girl from Minneapolis. You came up to the Fargo Moorhead area, and you didn't know a thing about agriculture and got thrown in the marketing team for Pifers. You've worked for us for about a decade now, and now you're our marketing manager. Tell us about learning the ag world as a marketer.
In college, I had to ask a friend. There was a picture of a combine on my phone, and it was a trivia game. And I go, "What is this?" And she looked at me like I was clueless. I was like, "What is this?" And she's like, "Are you serious?" So I went from that to completely understanding what FSA map on a USDA map and how to what that tells me about the land and what this piece of equipment, low hours and PTO. I'm like, I couldn't even tell you what that was 9.5 years ago. And I came here for college and I had great training from some mentors in the marketing department that are no longer working with us, but also individuals in our company that have kind of sat down with me to give me the idea and full understanding of what these forms, CRP contracts, one of the most confusing contracts that you'd ever see. And I can read it no problem and write it up and get it looking like dummy proof that I can understand it, because I probably would have needed that 9.5 years ago if I didn't know what it meant. So, and that's what's really nice, is because a lot of these individuals we do sell land for, it's the generational switch where they could be inheriting this land from their grandparents or their parents, and they have no idea what any of this means. And that's where our team comes in, and we are great teachers and give our clients the help and understanding of if they're looking to utilize us for land management, or if they're looking to sell, and equipment too. I mean, you guys know pretty much everything, so you can educate your clients, and I try to educate people just from behind the scenes, making everything as clear as possible, because some people just don't understand it like I did 9.5 years ago. So you got to look at it that type of lens.
What was the hardest thing to learn in ag marketing, in marketing land or machinery?
Hardest thing for sure is understanding what the type of equipment is. Like seeding and tillage, couldn't tell you what that was. What a tractor really did. Actually, a couple years ago, my fiance, his family are farmers in the southeastern North Dakota, and I rode in the combine with him for the first time, combining soybeans, and I thought it was the coolest thing. So
It's mesmerizing
it
to
is.
watch a
It's an
crop
art.
go in. Yeah, you watch that crop come in, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden everything's up in the top, and the tailings go out of the back of the
Yeah. So
combine.
seeing the full functionality of these pieces of equipment, but also understanding what the difference. I didn't understand what soils were and why that was a big deal. I'm like, well, I don't get it. There's only 2 soil types. Isn't that bad? Because there's not a lot. And they're like, no, it's the opposite. You want less soil types because it makes the land way more productive. And so, especially in the Red River Valley here, I could sell put together some Red River Valley cropland material. It looks so boring because it's just all one color of green and one soil type, and I'm over here like, this looks boring, but it's appeasing to our clients and our buyers. So probably understanding how pieces of equipment work, and what categories they go with, which helps us in marketing, because when you guys, like what Josh was saying with setting up an auction, when you put together the full inventory list, Josh has to go in there and specify what type of equipment it is, if it falls under seeding and tillage, if it's a tractor, if it's a combine, if it's grain handling equipment. That helps us a lot in marketing, because I mean, I'm not a professional in the equipment side at all. So that definitely helps us to turn around these pieces of marketing quicker.
Well, you as a marketing team for Pifers, not only are you doing the marketing for the auction side, but you're doing the marketing for our land management side as well. And
Yeah.
that's a whole nother cat, right?
It's very different. Yeah. I mean, they do written bid leases that act like an auction, but they're not selling the land. They're seeking tenants. So it's very unique in that way and how they operate that process. And then the year-end reports they do for their clients at the end of every year of that farm year, understanding what they do for their clients and seeing how much work they put into it, with going to the field visits twice a year and showing the before and after of spring photos and fall photos, and then comprising a full write-up and financial. It's a beautiful done piece of material that we can do for them, and their clients look at it as a huge asset that they can keep. And we purposely try to make it look different year after year so they can know which one it is when they go into their filing cabinet and pull them out. But yeah, it's really fun working with the different branches of Pifers, the different individuals of Pifers. I mean, we do real estate too, which some people don't know. We're really heavily focused in real estate in the central and western part of North Dakota. We have Abby Messer, who is a realtor that specializes in farmsteads in the central part of the state, and Allie Pierce in the western side of the state focuses on houses and farmsteads. They're a huge asset to us in that way, because on my side of the state, Fargo-Moorhead, we can't really compete in the residential side of it. It's too competitive. But then we have commercial real estate too, where we have Jared Nelson, who is a workhorse. He goes all across western Minnesota, all the way to western North Dakota, and he puts a lot of work in. So we have a great team, and everyone works really well together.
One thing that I absolutely love about the entire Pifers organization is they have some power players in guys that know and understand the land value, the land auction business, and without question, Pifer's is a powerhouse when it comes to land auctions all over the upper Midwest, from Nebraska to the Canadian line and from Wisconsin all the way to Montana. And it not very often do you get an auction company that is as well versed and versatile as Pifer's is in the auction industry. And in order for that to all work, and in order for that to be all successful, it takes that marketing component, it takes that marketing piece that and it has to be proprietary in a lot of ways, to exactly what the auction company is trying to do. And you guys have just nailed it. That's just all there is to it. You guys have nailed the marketing piece.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We definitely have gone through some trial and errors, and I think we finally got to a point where we're comfortable and we're seeing results. I mean, I love watching our live auctions online because I can't go to every single one. And then same with your guys' auctions. I watch them when I'm working away on marketing material on my dual screen, and it's just it feels good to know that the results are there, and we hear that it exceeds our clients' expectations, because I like to think we are a part of that, even though we're not in the face of those sales and we're a little behind the scenes. So it's a good feeling.
Well, just down to the last 60 seconds or so of our show here today, I'm going to tell you, Cara, we've got a auction in Charles Mix County here in South Dakota next Tuesday morning, and I have had telephone calls from Colorado to Wisconsin, from Texas. The telephone calls that have just come in on a little old piece of hunting ground, 160 acres in Charles Mix County, which is just Geddes. It's just northwest of Geddes, a couple of miles. The telephone calls have been absolutely phenomenal on it, and we really appreciate you. Well, thank you for joining us, Cara. Thank you, Josh. You're very welcome. And thank you, Josh, for joining us. I think Josh and I have got to jump off the show here today and get to work. We've got some contracts that we've got to get signed. But thank you very much for joining us. I'm Chris Bair, your host of the Legacy of Agriculture. If you have any comments that you want to make to the Legacy of Agriculture, you can reach out to us at the Legacy of Agriculture at gmail.com, or you can simply watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify. The Legacy of Agriculture webpage is up and available, or simply give us a call, 605-836-2277. Pifers, nobody does it better.
Here now, what are you gonna do now? I'm gonna bid on here now. Who bid $500,000 bid?
We hope you've enjoyed today's edition of The Legacy of Agriculture with Chris Bair, sponsored by Pifer's Auction, Realty, and Land Management. Call Pifer's at 605-836-2277.